the world awoke to a headline no one expected. Philippine Navy secures Ayungin Shoal, Chinese fleet in full withdrawal. For years, the South China Sea was a stage for a tense standoff, China's massive navy against the Philippines' modest force. The outcome seemed inevitable. But today, the script flipped. Small, agile Philippine patrol boats held their ground around the disputed territory. The BRP Sierra Madre, a grounded ship-turned-outpost, stood as a symbol of defiance. The Chinese Coast Guard and naval fleet, gone. Satellite images confirmed the retreat. No epic battle, no shots fired, just a quiet, stunning victory. Manila erupted in celebration, flags waved, anthems sung, car horns blared. This was more than a military win. It was national vindication. Years of water cannons, blockades, and intimidation had not broken Filipino resolve. Today, they stood tall. The government issued a simple statement, thanking the armed forces and calling for calm. On the world stage, stunned silence gave way to a flurry of diplomatic activity. Allies like the US, Japan, and Australia praised the Philippines' resolve and commitment to international law. Even neutral nations acknowledged the shift. China's response was muted, a vague statement about operational redeployment. The world saw what had happened. A giant blinked. The balance of power in the South China Sea had been redrawn, not by force, but by will. For the first time in years, the Philippines was not just holding the line, it was setting it. The message was clear. Sovereignty could not be bullied away. The Filipino people had reclaimed their narrative. The world watched, realizing that something fundamental had changed. The South China Sea was no longer a foregone conclusion. The Philippines had rewritten the rules. In a region long overshadowed by might, the power of unity and resolve had finally broken through. The story of David and Goliath had a new chapter, and this time, David had won. The world would never see the South China Sea the same way again. The dawn had broken, and with it a new reality. The Philippines had done the unthinkable. The world was watching and learning. The shockwaves from the South China Sea reached every world capital. At the UN, diplomats whispered in corridors. News channels looped the story. Military analysts everywhere asked, how did the Philippines compel a superpower to back down? Disbelief faded as the days passed. The withdrawal was real. The US, Japan, and Australia praised the Philippines' professionalism and restraint, emphasizing the importance of a rules-based order. European leaders hoped for peaceful dialogue. The event forced nations to rethink power in the 21st century. A geopolitical earthquake. In Beijing, silence spoke volumes. China's image of unstoppable strength had cracked. Other Southeast Asian claimants, like Vietnam and Malaysia, saw new possibilities. The Filipino playbook showed resistance was not futile. Military academies worldwide began dissecting the event, not for hardware lessons, but for lessons in will and unity. The world saw that national resolve, clever diplomacy, and a unified population could outmatch sheer force. The Philippines had not just won territory, it had won global respect. The doctrine of inevitability was broken. The world was witnessing a new kind of power, one that could not be measured in ships or missiles. The Philippines had changed the game. The lesson was clear. The human spirit could be the most decisive weapon of all. The world was watching, and the rules were being rewritten. The Philippines had become the example. To grasp the magnitude of this moment, you must understand the shadow China cast. For over a decade, China built fortresses on disputed reefs, backed by the world's largest navy. The Philippines, with aging ships and a tiny budget, seemed hopelessly outmatched. China's strategy: gray zone conflict, harassment, blockades, intimidation, always below the threshold of war. Economic leverage added pressure. Defy us, and your economy suffers. The world assumed the Philippines would eventually concede. But that assumption proved profoundly wrong. The events of 2026 shattered the narrative of Chinese inevitability. The constant presence of Chinese ships was seen as the new normal. The Philippines' protests were dismissed as symbolic. No one believed the tide could turn. The dragon's shadow was long, but the dawn had finally broken through. The world was forced to reconsider what was possible. The Philippines' victory wasn't forged in shipyards, but in courtrooms, on social media, and in the hearts of its people. The 2016 Hague ruling invalidated China's claims. The Philippines never let the world forget it. Every act of Chinese aggression was broadcast globally, turning intimidation into a PR liability. The narrative shifted, a bully and its victim, not a distant dispute. Civil society mobilized, fishermen with cameras, protests, online campaigns, even hacktivists defending digital borders. School children wrote letters to soldiers on the BRP Sierra Madre. This unity became the Philippines' true advantage. China's steel and technology couldn't match the will of 110 million people. Every act of aggression only strengthened Filipino resolve. A viral quote from a young sailor summed it up. "They have bigger ships, but we have a bigger reason to be here. This is our home." The fight was for identity, not just territory. The Philippines proved that unity and purpose could outmatch brute force. The world took notice. The victory was not just military, it was moral. The Philippines had shown the world a new way to win. The lesson: a nation united is a force no adversary can easily break. The world was watching and learning. The secret to the Philippines' resilience lies in its culture, bayanihan, the spirit of communal unity. On the seas, this meant Navy, Coast Guard and fishermen operated as one. Lacking high-tech resources, Filipino soldiers became masters of improvisation, discarte. They modified boats, used commercial drones and built resilient communication networks. National pride fueled their adaptability. Service was a sacred duty. A Marine commander said, "You can sink our ships, but not our spirit." Every act of aggression filled more hearts with resolve. The Filipino military was more than the sum of its parts, agile, resourceful, and motivated. China's forces were unprepared for an opponent who fought with transparency, law, and the backing of an entire nation. The greatest strength was not weapons, but people and culture. The soul of a warrior proved mightier than steel. A retired Western admiral reflected, "By every metric, the Philippines should have lost. We measured hardware, not the human element." China's commanders expected fear and predictability. They couldn't compute the Filipino response. Morale boosted by viral videos. Fishermen reporting ship movements on WhatsApp. The Chinese strategy was a sledgehammer. The Filipino strategy was water, fluid, adaptable, relentless. Every act of aggression became a point of exhaustion for China. The Filipinos played chess, while China played checkers. The West's obsession with technology missed the real lesson. War is a human endeavor. The Philippines won with courage, cleverness, and unity. The will to win became the ultimate force multiplier. The world was rereading its history books. The Philippines had become the new case study. The lesson was clear: never underestimate the power of the human spirit. The tides of war had shifted. The South China Sea events forced a global rethink of military doctrine. The Goliath doctrine, that bigger, faster, stronger always wins, was shattered. The Philippines showed that information, law, and unity could outmatch brute force. Military theorists now study the Philippine model, asymmetric resilience. The battlefield now includes the internet, courts, and public opinion. Victory is about breaking the enemy's narrative and will, not just their army. Smaller nations see a new blueprint for resistance. Investing in legal expertise, information officers, and national unity can be more effective than matching tanks for tanks. The Philippine model is a doctrine of empowerment for the underdog. Major powers are re-evaluating the limits of conventional force. The human element is now seen as critical combat power. The lesson: lose the information war, and even the strongest military can be defeated. The Goliath doctrine must adapt, or fade. The Philippine military's culture of innovation was born from necessity. Lacking big budgets, they became masters of creative problem-solving. The bamboo arsenal, commercial drones, networked by soldiers and civilians, formed a real-time coastal surveillance system, Project Maya. Micro-supply missions used small, fast boats disguised as fishing vessels to resupply outposts under blockade. Encrypted messaging and local expertise made these missions possible. Training shifted to small unit scenario-based exercises, fostering adaptability and improvisation. Partnerships with universities and fishing cooperatives integrated civilian ingenuity into defense. The result: a whole-of-nation approach where everyone played a role. The bamboo arsenal was a mindset: cleverness, cooperation, and deep local knowledge. The Philippines proved that innovation isn't about gadgets, it's about people. With the right mindset, any disadvantage can be overcome. The world took note. Necessity had become the mother of victory. The Philippines is now seen as a lighthouse nation, an inspiration for others. Delegations come to Manila not for weapons, but to learn resilience and unity. The Filipino model is being adopted worldwide, integrating technology, information, and human capital. National defense now includes every aspect of society. The greatest asset: a well-informed, engaged, and unified populace. For the Philippines, this victory is a beginning, not an end. Modernization continues, guided by the philosophy that technology empowers people, not replaces them. New systems are designed with input from those who use them. The future is a blend of bayanihan, courage, and cutting-edge tools. The world will look to the Philippines as a beacon. They faced down a giant, not with brute force, but with unbreakable spirit. The lighthouse shines, guiding others through turbulent times. The Philippines has shown the way forward.